welcome back to Who Let Me Do This. Me, that's who, and you. So let's talk about it. Today I am clearly not in the closet because I am home alone because my son is visiting his grandma and aunt today. So I am alone. I had a mom day. Yeah, I'm doing a podcast episode from my vanity and I'm very excited. So let's get into this week's topic, which I think is very important to start talking about, especially now that I'm a parent. I feel like I have a lot more to say about this, or I have more of a right, I should say, to say about this. Okay, I've only been a parent for almost 7 months, but a parent nonetheless. So today's episode is your kid. Yes, your kid is in. And this is why. Now, this does not apply to all of you moms out there. This applies mostly to the parents that are doing gentle parenting and not doing fully what gentle parenting is. This is for the parents that let their kids run wild in a store and destroying everything. This is for the parents of kids that think they can do whatever the hell they want and disrespect their elders and disrespect teachers, especially. That one really gets me clearly. And any authoritative figure whatsoever. This is for the parents that are not paying attention to their kid whatsoever. You had the kid to have the kid and you don't care. So let's talk, because I know a lot of you moms out there. I know my demographic is mostly women. Hi, ladies. Let's talk about this, because I know a lot of you guys are moms and have been moms before me and probably have already seen this and are like, oh my God, that's not going to be my kid. Or wait, I have one more. Or the parents that just keep their kid on an iPad 24/7. 24/7. Now, I realize that there are some stipulations and there are some, exclusions to a lot of these things. Mostly the iPad thing, because, I know that a lot of the students that I was working with at my job have autism, and sometimes that's the only way that they're okay, which is fine. But in some cases, maybe it's not fine. Maybe it's just not fine. And I've seen it firsthand with, again, kids that have autism and disabilities, and then kids that are literally just typical or atypical. Typical. I'm not going to say that right. I'm not going to. Literally are just on an iPad 24/7, and they're functioning children, or the typical functioning child, I should say. So it goes either way. It could either be for whatever reason or another. Probably wondering why, and you're probably listening to this and you're thinking, what the hell does this bitch know about children and know about all of these things? I can tell you firsthand now, as a mother, as I've said in this beginning of this episode, and also that I was a former daycare teacher, toddler teacher. I've worked with kids all the way up into, oh my God, what was the oldest? 12, 13, 12. So I know a thing or two, especially with the early years from baby to 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a rough time. It is a rough time. I'm in for it. I'm aware. But I've seen a lot of things and I've seen how it affects a lot of kids. So let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Let's go back to millennial parents. I personally am a millennial. I was born in 92. So is my husband. And we are in our early 30s. We just had our first son, Brian. He will be 7 months on February 3rd. So I think you guys are listening to this after. We had already established some things beforehand that we wanted to do with our son and our future children that were non-negotiables. And I think that really has helped with us personally so far. And I think it has to do with a lot of seeing some other parents and how they are raising their children, that I'm like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. There's this whole stigma around millennial parents that they are just like doing the gentle parenting, the lazy parenting, as people are calling it. And honestly, yes, the fuck you are. You're doing it. You're doing the lazy parenting. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. Because what is going to happen is your kid is eventually going to A, walk all over you, B, not give a fuck, and C, going to end up probably in jail or something worse because they don't care. And I think what makes this even worse is that society's kind of normalized this behavior and normalized kids to be like, oh, well, I could do whatever the fuck I want. I could talk to the teacher the way that I want. I could be on my phone all day. I could do this. I could do this. I could sneak out. I can do this. I can have sex. I can do drugs. Blah, blah, blah. Stop it. You're 10 years old. I think the biggest example of this is definitely the Sephora kids. Why are you letting your child spend money in Sephora? Do you know how expensive that store is? Your child is 10 years old, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older. Why are you letting them run you? That's the other thing. Why are you letting your kids deciding what you're going to do? You are the parent. Hello? Say what goes and what does not. And if they don't like it, tough shit. That doesn't mean that you just, oh, well, again, this is all just a one blanket statement. There's many different, angles to all of this. But from what I've seen, it is just absolutely insane. Why are you letting your kid buy Sephora. Why are you letting them have an iPhone at 5 years old? Why are you letting them do all these things? Is it because everyone else is doing it? Is there a genuine reason to it? Is it the peer pressure? It could be. Definitely could be. Definitely what has topped all of this? What is the top reason besides parents? Social media. Kids want to do what they see. Kids want to be like everyone else. That's just the way that it is. To see that starting from a young age of 10. Why does a 10-year-old want to buy retinol? It is social media, which, yes, we know that this is like a big issue. The TikTok ban, we're not going into that. To see kids so young acting like in your early 20s is just astronomical. But again, there's social media, there's their friends, there's all of that. That is a big influence, yes. But where does this all start? You, me, us, the parents. That is where it starts. Now, you have parents that are typically on their children. And what I mean by that is that they are very much like with the discipline, whatever you decide, like consistency is key. I will say that from experience. You do not need to, I'm going to say bare arms. That's not right. But you do not need to, if you don't want to be that much of an authoritative figure like your parents were, if you get what I mean by I've been hit, I've been smacked, with a ruler, you guys. If you don't want to go that route, you don't have to. And I'm going to tell you that right now from experience. You just have to be consistent. You have to set some boundaries, set the rules, and be consistent. If you are not, it is not going to work. It is going to fall through and you're going to be miserable and pissed. And they're going to just do whatever the hell they want and think it's funny. Oh, that's the worst part. The worst part is when they laugh at you. Just you wait. I'm gonna get you. That is just the biggest advice I can give to parents, honestly, from a teacher standpoint. Consistency is key. Do not stop. Even if you have bumps in the road, do not stop. Keep up with the consistency. Whether you want to give your child not necessarily timeouts, but you want to give them like time to themselves sort of thing, like quiet time, or like, okay, now we're going to go have quiet time. You can't play nice with this X, Y, and Z, then we're going to go have some quiet time. Even if they fight you, which they will, consistency is key, and eventually it will all make sense. That is the one thing I can say that has worked. And I honestly can also credit my old coworker that I used to work with at my old daycare job, because she was there for over 20 years. And honestly, if she's listening, watching to this, yes, you girl, you were a but you knew a lot, and I appreciated that, and I've taken that with me, and I will take that with my child as well. Like, you do not have to smack your kids. You don't have to do that. There's other ways to discipline. However, maybe a teacher standpoint is a little bit different than a parent standpoint. We'll see how my son does with this, and then I will report back to you in a few years. But that is really the main thing. I think that just a lot of parents are afraid to discipline their child. They don't want to be viewed as the bad parent. They don't want to be judged by other people, even on social media. First of all, I'm going to say, the social media, it's your child, it's your kid that you birthed or adopted or took in, whatever the case is. It's your child. The social media, what the other parents say, what they think. Okay? What they think, do what you got to do. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere, is if you stop listening to the bullshit. So a lot of these parents, everyone thinks they know everything with their child, which is great. That's fine. You know what's best for your child. That's amazing for you. I'm happy for you. But what you're doing with your kid is not necessarily going to work with your friend Becky over here, okay? And it's not going to work with like Mark and his husband. Like it's just not going to work. Not going to, I said husband, I meant child, but whatever. You get what I mean. Everyone parents differently, and I understand that. And I also acknowledge that there's a lot of millennials that are parenting the way they are because of their own traumas too. Okay, fine. But don't make that the main reason why you are lazily parenting your child, okay? Don't make that the reason why you are like, okay, well, you're going to just let them run free in the house while you're on your phone because you just don't want to deal with them because you don't want to give them trauma. We all have trauma. Every single one of us. You can go down the street and ask someone, hey, what happened to you? What's your trauma? And they will tell you. They will tell you whether you want to hear it or not. Or you can just encounter people in life that will just tell you that whether you want to hear it or not. Stop also letting that be the excuse for why you're not parenting your child, okay? Trauma. I don't want to traumatize them. Trauma, trauma, trauma. That is such a fake out word at this point. If I hear it one more time, I swear. You're not going to traumatize your child. Your child needs to learn rights from wrongs and have boundaries. And you need to establish these boundaries, because if you do not, good luck. Especially when they're a teenager. Teenage is just a whole other phase. I've never been through that. I've never worked directly with teenagers like that, and I obviously don't have one, so I can't relate yet. But I will say, start it now. If you're not doing it now, start it now. And it will be harder as they get older, too, if you're not establishing any boundaries, any consistency of anything. Okay, I feel like I can breathe now. So back to what I mentioned earlier of like my husband and I had like some set, I don't know what you want to call them, boundaries, things for our son. A few of those things, this is just us. He is never going to have a tablet. Let me reiterate that because someone's going to be like, well, okay, let me reiterate that. Stop giving them a tablet 24 hours a day because that's going to rot their brain. And you see all these kids that are addicted to their iPads or addicted to these hyperactive, like overstimulating shows, Coco Melon being one of them. That's why my child is not allowed to watch that. You can go Google it. It's a thing that makes it so much worse for your child to deal with their own emotions, their own feelings, people around them when they don't have the device, like how they are going to be. It's just a whole mess. And I know that COVID definitely amplified that 5 years ago, but now it's time to wind it down a little. Like I think there definitely needs to be some kind of, we need to start limiting this a little bit. If there are any parents out there, again, I'm not a complete expert on any of this whatsoever. This is all from experience and what I see and what I've gone through. But I will say that if your child is heavily addicted to a tablet, an iPad, an iPhone, God help. My biggest advice is to attempt. I'm saying attempt because I know to limit the time on the iPad. And I'm not saying to just take it away cold turkey. I'm not saying just do it like for half a day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying literally like if they're on it all day, take it away for an hour. When they get up in the morning, let them be for an hour without it. Gradually increase that time as it goes on. That might not be the best solution. And again, I'm not an expert, so maybe don't follow my advice. But I feel like if you slowly start to try to transition them off of the iPad or tablet, it may work. It may not. If I was a parent and my kid was addicted, that's what I would be doing. And yes, there'd be a lot of screaming. And yes, there's going to be a lot of throwing. And there's going to be a lot of anger and a lot of freakouts. But I feel like at the end, it would be so worth it. Again, consult an expert though, but that's just me. That is definitely one of the things that my husband and I have established. No iPad. He's never getting a tablet. My father-in-law even joked like, oh, by the time he's 3, he's going to have an iPad. No, though. He's not. You're out of your mind. And if you give him one, he's not getting it. He's not getting it. We will return that to the store. You can have your money back. Thank you. I'm not doing that. Play is the best way for a child to learn. I think that's kind of common knowledge now, but children learn through play. Let your kids play. Let them have time to themselves to play. The whole tablet thing, which is definitely a big problem for other kids. The other thing is these overstimulating shows. As I just mentioned, Coco Melon is one of them. I heard Peppa Pig is also one. I'm not sure about that. But definitely look up overstimulating shows for your child. Guarantee there's probably one on there that they're watching, and that's why they're acting out, losing their minds. Because when children are exposed to hyperactive like TV shows like that, they will also get hyperactive and they will have problems with processing emotions and this and that, and they have a harder time to calm down. This is not a fact, but this is just common knowledge. I feel like this is just what I've always known. Cut the hyperactive shows, the overactive shows. Stop letting them watch Coco Melon. Not only is it disturbing some of the things on the cartoons, because I used to do that at my old daycare job sometimes for the 3-year-olds because no, yeah, I think there were 3-year-olds because it was so bad. And now I realize, wow, I should have never did that, but it is what it is. It's annoying as hell to listen to. I would rather watch Bluey all day. I'll watch Bluey, I'll watch Little Bear, I'll watch Bear in the Big Blue House, Blue's Clues. Ironically, they all start with B and they all have bears in them. I don't know. I don't know. But those are actually some of the shows that we do allow Brian to watch. I know technically you're not supposed to let your baby watch TV. He doesn't directly watch it. He just has it on. We have it on the background, and he knows the Bluey theme song, and he loves Bluey. So whatever. Again, every parent's different. I'm not doing this episode to tell you you're a terrible parent. I'm here to tell you why your kid's an asshole, at least from a teacher standpoint. Okay. Along with that, cut the hyperactive shows. Okay, and you may see a difference. Try a different show. Try toys. Try turning the TV off. Whatever's going to work for you in that moment. Whatever you feel comfortable trying. That's not going to cause an absolute meltdown, breakdown, and carry on for the rest of the day, whatever you got to do. So those are just some things, but I think the most important that I want to mention before I close out this episode is I don't mean your parenting. I don't mean your discipline. I don't mean that. I mean what you do as the mom, as the dad, what you're doing with your child, what they're watching, what they're seeing. Kids imitate. Kids watch everything. You think they're not, but they really are. I even notice with Brian, he's watching me all the time. He's watching what I'm doing, what I'm saying. You get it. Body language. And he, believe me, he knows when something is off and he will let me know. But kids are very smart. And yes, they're very resilient, and a lot of things probably maybe one ear out the other. But as they get older, that's not the case. They will remember things, they will know things, they will remember how you acted towards each other, how you reacted to someone that was rude, how you like they will how you were angry, how you were upset, how you were happy. They will see everything and they will imitate it. And that's how they also learn, is by watching you. And I also think that has a lot to do with why a lot of kids nowadays are very, very rude and disrespectful and have no manners, because the parents are very rude and disrespectful and have no manners. Where did they go? I don't know. They flew out somewhere, flew out of my, I don't know. They flew out somewhere to sea. It's awful. And it's really sad to see people are just really rude nowadays. And this is just off topic for a minute, but I've just noticed, even just being in stores today with my mom, like it's not even millennials. It is the boomers. It's just I'm like, why are you so rude? Why do you feel so entitled? Why? And that is why a lot of these kids are growing up and thinking that they don't have to listen to anybody. They don't have to do anything. They're going to coast through school and graduate and then do whatever they want, or end up in really shitty situations, or think that they can do X, Y, and Z, and they can't, because there's no boundaries, there's no respect. And it's very, very sad. But in conclusion of this episode, this may be a few reasons why your kid isn't. And it's time to change from a former toddler daycare teacher and paraprofessional and mother. It's time to change, because we are raising the next generation, as my best friend Danielle likes to say, which is true. We are raising the next generation, and it is better to raise them with morals and respect and to be smart and to know right and wrong than to raise them being a very disrespectful shit. That's the best way I can put it, honestly. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope it helped you in some way. This was not meant to be malicious or anything. Again, I am not an expert, but this is just from experience. And I really do weep for this generation coming up. And that is why I feel very strongly about the way that my husband and I are going to be raising our son and our future children, because I can't stand it. I can't stand to see it anymore. It is just absolute nonsense. Be safe, stay safe, don't be stupid, and treat yourself, because I treated myself today. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.